Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I wasn't really supposed to make a new video. Usually I post on Wednesdays and Sundays, but there was no way I could let this go. I had to quickly come and make this video because it has a lot of things going on in my mind. So there's this incident that happened 2 years ago. I think that was in Dallas, where a man killed his wife, shot her dead on the face, and called the police. And even while the wife was there dying, he was insulting her, telling her, yes, I killed you, you did this, you did that. One of the reasons he gave for killing his wife was that he made her who she was. He brought her to the US, she studied to become a nurse, now she's making money and she won't give him her check. And he said the wife refused for him to bring his mother to live with them, and refused for him to help his brother financially. And by refusing him to help his brother means you are not giving me your check for me to help my brother because I picked you up from the village. Somebody in one Facebook group brought it up again, and the comments from real human beings, real people, I felt like vomiting. The kind of justification, the kind of sense of entitlement that some men are raised with is really very nauseating. Some of these comments, I have them before me. I want to read some of them so that you can see the extent, how dark the human heart can be. While I'm talking, I'll post these comments on the screen so that you read for yourselves. Somebody wrote, I hope he settled the matter very well. And by settling the matter very well, he means I hope he killed her really. He said he shouldn't have killed himself. Last, na jail term. So what he means by last is a Nigerian slang. Last, that at the end of it all, it is only jail term you're going to serve. Let me read another one. Someone wrote, all this Western legality of feminism is so ridiculous. It's not easy for an African cultured man to let go of his property. This one wrote, the guy can't take it anymore because the evil witch has rendered him useless after making her who she is. What a wicked woman. I love it like that. He loves it like that the man killed his wife in cold blood. And one thing is that these are things we already know. A lot of, let me just narrow it down. Let me not even say the whole of Africa. This kind of sense of entitlement that some men are raised with, especially some of them that had the opportunity to travel abroad. For them, bringing you from Nigeria, I don't blame them. It's the Nigerian government that rendered the country useless, that somebody would think that bringing you out of Nigeria, he owns you. Look, nobody owns anybody. And some people will say, the woman I married with my own money. Did you buy a cow? How much is your money? How much is that money? You forget that somebody gave birth to that child, raised her to the point that you saw her and decided to marry her. And the moment you married her, she becomes your property. She becomes yours to do as you wish. While I was growing up, I continued hearing my father say, I am not going to collect bride price on any of my daughters. I'm going to tell the man, take care of my child. I do not need anything from you. My father died 2 months before my wedding. When I was getting married, I made sure everybody knew it. I continued repeating the same thing every day. My father said he's not collecting money on my head. And I was really proud of him for thinking like that. I made sure everybody knew it because some people would pay that token and believe that they bought an entire human being. Are you joking? So this man, he killed his wife because according to him, he brought him from the village where she was suffering when every other woman wanted him to marry them, and he decided to marry her and take her to the US with him. The lady studied with her own brain. She studied to become a nurse. And he killed her because she was not bringing forth her check to give him. And in fact, someone else wrote something, I'll paste it on the screen, about, maybe she knew about the story, I don't know. about how the woman was working, handing over the check to the man, and the man was still maltreating her. And at some point, she decided she was going to keep her check. She wasn't handing it over anymore. And it escalated. It became a problem. He was beating her, and the lady invited the police, and he was asked to leave the house. That was what enraged him so much, that he actually decided to kill an entire human being. By the way, all of you that go to wherever your country is, you marry a woman, take her to the US with you, and because nurses earn a lot of money in the US, you make her study nursing with her own brain, and she has to hand over her check every time she receives her salary. And in an ideal situation, the husband and wife should put their resources together. But if she has to hand you her entire check and you decide what to do with it, then that is wrong. That is slavery. And what stops you from studying nursing? If you really want to make all that money from nursing, what stops you from studying nursing? You come and marry a woman. I took you abroad. I brought you to the US. If the only thing you achieve in your life is to bring a woman to the US, if the only thing you did for your wife that you're going to continue boasting, I brought you to the US, I brought you to the US, then you're a failure. For you, bringing a wife you married to live together with you, for you, you have bought an entire human being. She would become your slave forever. Somebody wrote here, some of these gold-digging men here take their wives to the US for their own selfish reasons, especially when they have this nursing career. They see them as money bags. They live off these women. Stop work and be spending and living large on the woman's sweat. So when the woman decides that her mumu don't do, this means when the woman decides enough is enough, and they stop bringing in the paycheck, all hell will let loose. And when you hear these men say, she frustrated me, she stopped me from helping my family, you would think the woman actually stood by the door and told him, you would not go anywhere today, you're not going to help anybody. What he means by that, most of them, what they mean by that is that the woman stopped submitting her check. Another young man here wrote, I'm just reading comments. Let me see the fellow Obanje that will defend this woman. And for him, a woman like this is indefensible. She deserves to die. Can you imagine? This one wrote, that's why I hate America. Take your wife there and watch her learn the mannerisms of a full-fledged feminist. They will become so powerful that you become the wife while they take charge as the husband. Funny enough, the law supports and empowers them. Let me tell you something. The law exists for a reason. You are so used to your ways in Nigeria that you can't stand the fact that the law somewhere else supports the weaker sex. You are so used to your ways that you can't understand how any normal human being would actually give a woman her rights that she deserves. This other person said, I think the man shouldn't have killed her and himself. He should have found a way to bring her back to Nigeria and tear the green card into pieces. That is exactly what I would have done if I were in his shoes. Exactly. Take her back to Nigeria where the law does not exist, where women are not protected, and that is where you feel safe as a bully. Someone wrote, US is not like Nigeria where women endure domestic violence and injustice for long. Of course, and rightfully so. And one thing I hear from these people sometimes is, she's not a good woman. After everything my father did to my mother, she stayed. She endured everything. She did not raise her head for one day. That's my point. That is what damaged you like this, if you think in that line. Seeing that kind of dysfunction, your father maltreating your mother, and your mother was so powerless that she could not help herself. She could not do anything because your father made sure she was so vulnerable that she couldn't stand up for herself. That is the thing that damaged you like this. That is the same thing that damaged you like this. I pity your mother. If she's still alive, she is miserable. If she is dead, she died a miserable woman. And you think because your mother endured all that in the hands of your father, that means every other woman should take your nonsense from you. And especially women, this should be also a lesson for you. What your children see you do, they are going to copy. Men, what your children see you do, they are going to copy. And if you're a woman who takes all this nonsense lying low, and you take it for all these years and your children see you, they are going to copy that as a model of life. The young man that said this, that is the kind of woman he is looking for. A woman like his mother. And for him, that is the model of a good woman. Some men with this kind of mentality, they are so terrified of intelligent, strong, educated women because they know a woman who knows her rights, a woman who is strong, a woman who is intelligent would not allow herself to be treated in a certain way. And because you are coming with the mind of a bully and not with the mind of a man who wants to actually raise a family with a woman, you are so scared of a woman like that. Because to you, a good woman should take your nonsense lying low. And that is why some of them, when they want to get married, they have to go to their remote villages to go and find a young girl they feel is innocent, vulnerable, she doesn't know anything. And they decide to marry her because they are sure they can get her to do their bidding. But well, the good news is that people grow. That village girl, that naive little girl you went to marry, she will grow. Some of you, the moment you go and marry these people, you insult them on end. I brought you from the mud. You were dying of hunger and I saved you. You were dying in your village and I saved you. They never heard the last of it. If that is what makes you good, bullying another human being like that, then you are worthless. I know a lot of men that when they want to get married, the first thing they ask is their profession. Is she a nurse? Especially those who live in the US. Is she a nurse? And by asking that question, you understand immediately where he is driving at. Now listen to what this young girl wrote here. She said, and she thought she was making sense. She said, he never married her because of her profession, but rather he is the one that brushed her and trained her abroad and still rejecting him to send money to his people. He brushed her because she was dirty, right? So this is the kind of nonsense I hear a lot of people say. I brushed her up. No, you bought a slave. You bought an everlasting slave. Another young girl wrote here. Now wow, all these ladies that always want to be the head, forgetting our culture and taking up the white man's culture. Oh Diego. What is your culture? And what is the white man's culture? Marriage is universal. The culture in marriage includes love, mutual respect and understanding, submitting to one another. And that's the thing I say about a lot of our African culture. The one that seeks to subdue women so much, make them so vulnerable that no matter how you treat them, they never raise their head. This is what this young girl is referring to. Forgetting our culture, our African culture, and taking up the white man's culture. Please, what is wrong with the white man's culture? So if somebody tells you to accept your wife as a human being, as an equal, that's a bad culture. If you are required to treat the woman you married well, that is a wrong culture, right? This young man wrote, 6 feet for you as a wife if you can't let me help my mother and sibling. You just want your own family to be good. Ndiala means mad people, you know. And by saying 6 feet, in Nigeria, usually, I don't know why it's like that, 6 feet is the measurement of the grave. So he is telling someone that he will send her to the grave as a wife if she can't let him help his own mother. Right now, the debate is not even whatever transpired between husband and wife. It's the vindictive mentality that I'm reading from human beings. That because you feel frustrated, you think it is normal to kill another human being. And people are justifying this. Now tell me, a man that shot his wife because she was not submitting her paycheck to him, you think that kind of woman could have stopped him from helping his mother? No, what he meant was she was not submitting her paycheck so that he would live like a big boy in the eyes of his family. And because the woman was not enabling him to live as a big boy with her own money in the eyes of his family, that is the frustration he was talking about. This one wrote here, women are greedy, and that is the main reason for feminism. And to him, feminists asking for equality are asking for too much. Why can't they take the little they were giving? Why are they asking for more? Why are they trying to arrive at the same level with us? Listen to this one. There are so many ways to kill a rat. I marry you, pay your visa, pay your tuition fee for 3 years, feed you, clothe you. Then when you start working as a certified nurse, you start misbehaving and divorce me. I got nothing to lose. I will stabilize the blip. And by stabilizing the blip, he meant killing her. And these are human beings, young men and women, writing these things on Facebook where everybody could read it. And do you know why? Because they do not see any wrong in what they are writing. In their minds, they are right. And this is scary. Another person wrote this one. Nigerian girls living abroad are so fond of that, turning their husbands to slaves because the laws there favors women a lot, forgetting that same man who brought them to abroad. This bringing abroad is such a big deal for some low lives that for them you are supposed to be grateful, bow down to them, enslaved in their hands all your life. Because they brought you where? Not heaven, no, abroad. And the same guy continued, if you try that with me, I'll kill you and go to jail. I can never be a slave to my woman I married with my own money. Please, how much is your money? How much is this money? Sometimes, this is exactly why some women think bride price in our culture should be abolished. Because some men, they marry you with that token. According to culture or tradition, they marry you with that token, and for them, you belong to them. This one here wrote, it's really pathetic. Oftentimes, this so-called, look, I have to kind of read in a way to correct his grammar because I don't know what he wrote here, but I have to read it in a way you will understand. It's really pathetic. Oftentimes, these so-called ladies are picked up from the gutter and polished. Afterward, they turn to bosses because the Western laws favor the ladies more. This is the way it ends for most of them. And he's justifying it. You picked her from the gutter and polished her. Which gutter? And when white people will insult you because of your black skin, you feel so offended. You talk about racism, rightfully so. But you say this about another human being, the same race with you, the same country with you, and sometimes the same tribe with you, the woman you married. Then, if you picked her from the gutter, you're a gutter person. Can you imagine the kind of words people use to describe other human beings? Of course, you picked her from the gutter because you didn't have the courage to stand before an accomplished, intelligent woman, right? This young lady wrote this. This is a frequent occurrence here in Texas. Most Nigerian men go home to marry nurses or make their wife nurses here, only to use them for the money. The woman slaves for him, and she is required to put all the money in his account. And any day this woman says no, she ends up dead. Now, I don't know if this is happening as often as I am reading from here, but from what people are writing, from how these people are expressing themselves, that means if they are found in the same situation, they would do the same thing, kill another human being. What happens to leaving that person? If you are tired of the marriage, the same thing I tell women. No matter how much a man bullies you, no matter how much he beats you, the solution is not to kill him. Walk away from that marriage. Go away from there. Do not kill anybody. If you have come to that extent where you have to kill another human being, the mother of your children, the father of your children, go away from there. This one here wrote, this is rampant over here. That is why it is always advisable to Nigerian men who live in the US and married a lady who lives in Nigeria to not take her along, or before he will take her, to make sure there are undertakings signed when she is still in Nigeria. Because when they get there, they will take advantage of US laws which seem favorable to them and ruin the man's life. Taking advantage of the law. What law is that? The law that tells you to respect another human being, to not be a bully to another human being. That is the law she's taking advantage of. What about being a good man to this woman? What about respecting this woman? What about treating her right? Look, let me tell you something. I've worked with lawyers. I've worked in the courts. I've worked with social services. Nobody sends you out of your home. Nobody jails you. Nobody rules against you if you are doing the right thing. But what most of you expect is this. You want to persist in doing the wrong things. And when the woman decides it's enough, then she is frustrating you. She is ruining your life because she has stopped taking your nonsense. Sometimes I wonder who raised these people. Whoever raised you and made you think that because you're a man, you are a superior human being to a woman, that person did you a great disservice. There are so many things that as human beings think you picked up here and there while growing up, or maybe the way you were actually raised and you realize those ways are not good. You have to start unlearning them instead of insisting that everything has to go the way you want in your little world. This lady here wrote this. It is indeed quite sad and unfortunate that African men, I would add some African men because they are fantastic. There are still some fantastic men around. She wrote this. African men in America do not wish to better themselves. Instead, they go home seeking for another person to become their nurse slave. Nursing is not easy. It is an emotionally and physically tiring profession. It is only a matter of time before the slave gets tired and revolts. And rightfully so. One day, your slave will get tired. And when she revolts, when she decides not to continue being your slave, then your life has been ruined. She has ruined my life. She's frustrating me. She has turned me into a house help. She has done this. I know some of you, when you lose your jobs and maybe your wife is working, and this woman takes up all the hours to cover financially for the family. The same woman who went to work, who took other people's shifts to cover the family financially, she still gets home and nothing is done. Everywhere is dirty. There is no food. Your children are dirty and unkempt. And the moment she opens her mouth, hey, everybody will hear it. You call your family, wherever. She wants to turn me into a babysitter. She wants to turn me into a slave. She wants to turn me into this. She wants to turn me into that. At least, if you cannot go outside and work, be productive in other things. If you as a man go out to work and you come back, everywhere is unkempt, everywhere is dirty, and your wife who is at home did not do any of those things, how would you feel? No, of course you're a superior human being. Why would you touch anything in your house? Why would you clean? Why would you help out? And some of you, it is the way you were raised that is destroying your life. Because you were meant to think that as a man, what you bring to the table is money. Look, life happens. Sometimes you work so hard and things don't happen the way you want them. And maybe your wife is earning more and you become so intimidated. Look, parents, raise your children the way you raise multitasking females, raise multitasking men. So that if for any reason they are not earning money, let them not think their lives have finished. Because the things you can contribute in your home as a man is not just money. When you are not able to bring in that money, you could be productive in other ways. And I don't think there is a woman who would see you being productive in other ways and insult you just because of finance. Problems come when the woman is working outside the home, stressing herself so much to cover the whole family financially, and still she comes home and everywhere is dirty, and you expect her, after working for the whole day, to come home and do everything in the house because of course you're a man. You are not capable of any other thing except making money. Whoever raised you and made you believe that is the person that damaged you. Sometimes when I see humans demanding absolute control, demanding absolute submission, I wonder, who are you? Even God that created you and gave you life, you are not submitting totally, even to Him. And you, a mere human being, you expect another human to be totally under your control, to be so submitted to you that she deactivates her brain. She shouldn't reason anymore because you married her. Imagine if God killed any one of us when we sinned. Nobody will remain. And He even has the power to do that. And you, a mere human being, you think you have the power to take life? For everyone listening to this, or who has read some of these comments, or who has heard some of these things being said around you, let me tell you something. Marriage is ordained by God. Marriage is still a wonderful institution if you do it God's way. There are still so many good women. There are still so many wonderful men. But when you go into marriage expecting too much from a fellow human being, even the much that person does, you would never value it. You would never see it. I really thank God for this platform that gives me the opportunity to speak up, speak out, and condemn these kind of things openly. There's this quote I read somewhere that evil thrives when good people keep quiet and say nothing. Everybody, if you consider yourself a good person, speak up and say no to violence against men, against women, against children, against whoever. Nobody owns anybody. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it wasn't too long for you, but I was so burdened in my heart and I had to make this video. And remember to comment if you have anything to say, if you have anything to add, like this video, watch and share with your friends. And if you've not subscribed, you know what to do. Subscribe. God bless you.